opposition change your approach to fight against this?
Well, Musk's opposition shows how bad, if even Elon Musk, who's been part of the whole process and as Trump's buddy says the bill is bad, you can imagine how bad this bill is.
Welcome back. That was Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer saying he agrees with Elon Musk and his opposition to President Trump's, quote, big, beautiful bill. Schumer is one of the many Democrats who are seizing on Musk's comments, calling the bill a, quote, disgusting abomination. Joining me now is Democratic Senator from Oregon, Jeff Merkley. Senator Merkley, thanks so much for joining me. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Good to be with you.
Well, it's great to have you here on what I know is going to be a very busy week for all of you. You posted on X that you agree with Elon Musk. So, Senator, what's the strategy now beyond agreeing with Elon Musk? What are your next steps here?
Well, it is an abomination. Not for all the reasons that I would share with Musk, but one of the concerns is certainly debt, and it's debt being run up to fund tax breaks for the very richest Americans. And so that part we can agree on. That's a huge mistake. But it also cuts some, now with the new estimate, some 16 million Americans will lose health care to fund tax breaks for billionaires. 4 million children will go hungry to fund tax breaks for billionaires. I mean, that's incredible. This is families lose and billionaires win. Why would anyone want to vote for that bill?
Well, so Musk, it's based on all of my reporting, one of the things that he's most opposed to is the fact that there is no EV mandate. And obviously that would help his company of Tesla. Given the fact that his opposition, at least in part, is due to his personal business, does that align with your opposition and does it complicate your opposition, Senator?
Oh, you know, I've heard him talk about the debt. I hadn't heard him talk about the EV mandate. But I must say, in the broader sense, what is being eliminated from in this bill are the tax credits that support renewable energy. And so we have actually, even without the tax credits, renewable energy is less expensive and obviously cleaner than fossils. But what this bill does is said, let's get rid of the clean, cheaper energy and replace it with dirty, more expensive energy. And in to the sense that that lines up with support for electric vehicles, I think we're in agreement.
Well, let me ask you about something else that Elon Musk posted on X. This was last night. He wrote, in November next year, we fire all politicians who betrayed the American people. I can tell you, I've been talking to sources close to the White House. They are concerned that that's a betrayal. They believe that means that he could potentially be considering supporting Democratic candidates over Republicans who vote for this bill. Should Democrats take Elon Musk's money?
Well, you know, I don't take any corporate money. And I'm certainly going to take Elon Musk. He's been so closely associated with such devastation. Just the fact that he illegally and unconstitutionally dismantled agencies and impounded funds, and is let alone enough reason to say no, thank you, Elon. Why don't you donate those funds to charity and do some good things in the world with your money?
So, Senator, just to be very clear, is that your message to your fellow Democratic senators, that they should say no thank you if Elon Musk were to offer the money?
I'll let them reach their own decisions on that. But my message is that dark money, and this is what the Citizens United court decision has done, is completely corrupting our political system. When the crypto world can put $40 million into a Senate race, as they did in Ohio, or $20 million into some other races, and the ordinary citizen, one, has to act publicly and has limits, what we're seeing is big business is basically buying government buying for big business. I believe in government buying for the people. So we need some fundamental reforms when it comes to money in politics.
Let me ask you about crypto, the Genius Act that would basically regulate crypto, specifically your amendment that would basically prohibit the president and other officials from profiting off of stable coins. What do you say to people who think you only introduced this legislation now because there's a Republican in the White House?
I would say take a look at the fact that I've introduced the stock trading bill going back now 12 years, that we shouldn't be engaged in owning assets that are defined with very large political or legislative issues, own a diversified stock fund. But in this case, there's even more involved here. And that is the fact that if any elected officials is offering say a meme coin for sale, a meme coin is like a digital baseball card. They're basically saying, look, you give me your money and I will give you an email with a picture of a coin on it. It's just an open invitation to give me money openly, but why? Because you want access and influence. It's government for sale. It is the same situation with the Trump family. A different type of crypto coin. It's one used in international transactions. It's called a stable coin. But the Trump family gets to keep all of the profits from investing that money, including all the profits from investing the $2 billion from the company associated with the United Arab Emirates. It's absolute corruption. UAE wanted something. They wanted AI chips. Essentially, when Trump went to the Middle East, he said, we'll give you AI chips. And so this is open corruption. It has to end.
Let me ask you, broadly speaking, about the Democratic Party. I want to put up something that Senator Bernie Sanders said in an interview with The Guardian. He said, quote, their weaknesses, I think that their credibility is now quite low, and they don't have much of a message for working people other than to say Trump is dangerous. I think that's just not enough. Of course, that's from Senator Sanders, who's an independent, who caucuses with the Democrats. Do you agree with Senator Bernie Sanders?
I do agree with Bernie Sanders. For example, the dream of home ownership is dying. We need to be saying, no, we're going to restore it. And here's how we're going to restore it. We're going to get the hedge funds out of this business. And here's another factor. We pay more for drugs than any people in any developed nation, even though we invest more taxpayer money in the development of those drugs. We should never be charged than anyone in any other nation. And by the way, Bobby Kennedy and President Trump agreed. So let's have a bipartisan effort to make that happen. Those are real solutions for real challenges people face.
Very quickly, two more questions. You're up for re-election in 2026. Some of your Democratic colleagues have said they're not running for re-election. What say you, Senator? Are you going to run for re-election?
Well, you know, every 6-year cycle, Mary, my wife, and I make the decision. We'll make it in due course, as we always have. And so people can keep asking, but when we make a decision, we'll let the world know.
All right, well, come back and tell us here, Senator. We'd love to have your final decision. And speaking of decisions, we learned today that former White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre says she's leaving the Democratic Party, switching her affiliation to independent, according to the publisher of her new book. What was your reaction to hearing that?
Well, I hadn't heard it until just now. I'm going to be very interested in what she has to say. Maybe she's trying to send a message like the one that Bernie and I are putting forward, is that we need to be aggressive in creating government buy-in for the people, not the powerful.
All right, Senator Jeff Merkley, thank you. And I do mean it. Please come back once you've made that final decision. We really appreciate it.